The EOS asterisk, humanity's first deep space exploration vessel, was a marvel of engineering, a sleek silver ship designed to withstand the harshest environments. But even marvels have limits. When an ion storm erupted without warning in a remote corner of the galaxy, the crew scrambled to stabilize their vessel as bolts of energy tore through space like living lightning. Despite their best efforts, the EOS asterisk tumbled out of control, crashing onto an uncharted moon, cloaked in perpetual twilight. Captain Elias Voss woke to the groan of twisted metal and the acrid smell of burnt circuits. His head throbbed, but he pushed aside the pain, focusing instead on assessing the damage. Around him, his crew stirred amidst the wreckage, some bruised, others unconscious, but miraculously alive. "Report," Elias barked, his voice steady despite the chaos. One by one, survivors confirmed they were okay, though shaken. Their supplies were limited, and repairs would take time. They needed resources fast if they hoped to survive. Armed with a scanner and a plasma cutter, Elias set off alone into the alien wilderness. He had always preferred solitude during critical missions. It allowed him to think clearly. As he trudged across jagged terrain bathed in eerie green light from two distant suns, the scanner beeped faintly, indicating traces of minerals nearby. Following the signal, Elias stumbled upon something far more extraordinary than raw materials, a cavern filled with glowing crystals that pulsed softly, casting shifting patterns on the walls. But what truly stopped him in his tracks was the sight before him. At the center of the cavern lay a massive figure, crumpled and unmoving. It was unmistakably alien, its form both terrifying and beautiful. Standing nearly 20 feet tall, she had translucent skin that shimmered with hues of blue and gold, and her elongated limbs radiated an ethereal grace. Blood, or something like it, oozed from wounds scattered across her body, evidence of a recent battle. Hovering above her were mechanical drones, their sharp appendages poised to strike again. Without hesitation, Elias sprang into action. Years of military training kicked in as he pulled out his plasma cutter, aiming carefully at the nearest drone. A burst of energy severed one of its limbs, sending it spiraling to the ground. Another drone whirred toward him, but Elias rolled out of the way just in time, firing another shot that disabled it. Within moments, all three drones lay motionless, their threat neutralized. Breathing heavily, Elias approached the wounded creature cautiously. She stirred weakly, her enormous eyes fluttering open. To his surprise, he felt a presence, not physical, but mental, brush against his thoughts. "You. Save me," came a voice, soft yet resonant, echoing directly in his mind. "I'm not leaving anyone behind." Elias replied aloud, unsure why he felt compelled to answer. Kneeling beside her, he retrieved medical nanites from his pack and sprayed them over her injuries. The tiny machines worked quickly, sealing wounds and stabilizing her condition. As color returned to her luminous skin, she studied him intently, her gaze piercing yet gentle. "My name is Sci-Fi," she said telepathically. "I am queen of my people." Her tone carried a weight of authority tempered by gratitude. "Why did you risk your life for me?" Elias hesitated, then shrugged. "Because it's what we do. We help each other when it matters most." For the first time since waking up on this strange moon, Elias felt a flicker of hope, not just for survival, but for connection. Little did he know, this encounter would change everything. For him, for his crew, and perhaps for two entire species. Over the next few weeks, Elias found himself drawn back to the crystalline cavern almost daily. At first, it was practical. He needed to ensure Sci-Fi's recovery and learn more about her species to assess any potential threats or alliances. But as time passed, his visits became less about duty and more about curiosity. There was something magnetic about the alien queen, a quiet strength that transcended her physical presence. Despite their vast differences, they shared moments of genuine connection, bridging the gap between human and luminary. Sci-Fi proved to be an eager teacher, explaining her people's way of life through vivid mental images projected directly into Elias's mind. He saw sprawling forests made entirely of bioluminescent plants, rivers that flowed with liquid light, and cities carved into mountainsides where harmony reigned supreme. The luminary were not conquerors. They thrived by living in balance with nature, their psychic abilities allowing them to communicate with each other, and even with animals without words. Yet beneath the beauty lay sorrow. Wars with rival factions had decimated their numbers, leaving only fragments of what once was. Elias listened intently, asking questions when prompted and offering insights from his own world. He spoke of Earth's history, the rise and fall of civilizations, humanity's struggles for peace amidst conflict, and the resilience that defined their spirit. Sci-Fi seemed particularly fascinated by stories of leaders who sacrificed everything for their people. "Your kind fights so fiercely for survival," she mused one evening, her voice soft yet tinged with admiration. "It is inspiring." Their conversations often turned lighthearted too. One day, Elias brought a small device from the *EOS*, a music player loaded with classical symphonies. As the notes filled the cavern, Sci-Fi tilted her head, her shimmering form swaying slightly in rhythm. "What is this?" she asked, her tone curious. "It's called music," Elias explained with a grin. "Humans create it to express emotions, joy, sadness, love. It's one of our greatest achievements." Sci-Fi closed her eyes, absorbing the melodies. When the final note faded, she opened her eyes and smiled, a gesture so human it caught Elias off guard. "It is beautiful," she said simply. "Thank you for sharing it with me." As days turned into weeks, their bond deepened. Sci-Fi began opening up about her loneliness. Being queen carried immense responsibility, but also isolation. Few could understand the burden of leadership thrust upon her since birth. "My advisors see me as a figurehead, not a person," she confessed one night, her voice heavy with weariness. "They forget I have fears, doubts, desires." Elias nodded sympathetically. "I know how that feels. Leadership isn't just about making decisions. It's about carrying the weight of everyone's hopes on your shoulders." For a moment, neither spoke, the silence between them comfortable yet charged with unspoken understanding. One afternoon, while exploring the cavern together, Sci-Fi paused beside a glowing crystal formation. Turning to Elias, she placed a delicate hand near his chest, not quite touching, but close enough for him to feel warmth radiating from her fingertips. "You are different from others of your kind," she said softly. "You do not fear me. You do not seek to dominate or exploit." "Why?" Elias met her gaze, his expression thoughtful. "Maybe because I see you as more than just an alien queen. I see someone trying to protect what matters most, just like me." Her eyes widened slightly, as if his words had struck a chord deep within her. In that moment, Elias realized he wasn't just forming a friendship, he was building a bridge between two worlds. And perhaps against all odds, something greater might grow from it. But as the suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the cavern, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that their fragile bond would soon face its greatest test. The repairs to the *EOS* were nearing completion, and with each passing day, Elias felt the weight of an impending decision pressing down on him. The thought of leaving this strange yet captivating moon and Sci-Fi was becoming harder to bear. Yet, as much as he enjoyed their time together, he knew his duty lay with his crew and humanity's mission. Still, Sci-Fi had become more than just an alien queen to him. She was a friend, a confidant, and someone who made him question everything he thought he understood about connection and purpose. One evening, under the glow of twin moons filtering through the crystalline cavern, Sci-Fi approached Elias with an air of seriousness that immediately caught his attention. Her shimmering form seemed to pulse faintly, mirroring her inner turmoil. "Elias," she began, her telepathic voice steady, but tinged with uncertainty, "there is something I must discuss with you." Elias set aside the tool he'd been using to tinker with a damaged component from the *EOS*. "What is it?" he asked, noting the gravity in her tone. Sci-Fi hesitated before continuing. "My advisors have urged me to take a mate, to secure the future of my lineage and stabilize our people during these uncertain times." She paused, her luminous eyes searching his face for a reaction. "Traditionally, such unions occur within my own kind, but there are no suitable candidates left among us." Elias frowned, unsure where this conversation was heading. "I'm sorry to hear that," he said carefully. "But why are you telling me?" Sci-Fi took a step closer, her towering figure casting a soft light over him. "Because I believe you could be the one." For a moment, Elias thought he'd misheard her. "Me," he blurted out, stunned. "You want me to? What? Be your consort?" Her expression softened, though her resolve remained firm. "It would not only honor your bravery and kindness, but also symbolize unity between our species. Together, we could forge a new path, one of peace and cooperation." Elias stared at her, his mind racing. The idea was both exhilarating and terrifying. On one hand, he couldn't deny the depth of their bond, or the potential impact such a union might have. On the other hand, accepting meant abandoning his life, his crew, and everything familiar to him. Could he truly leave behind Earth and humanity for a destiny among the stars? "I need time to think," he finally said, his voice quieter now. "This isn't something I can decide overnight." Sci-Fi nodded, understanding flickering in her gaze. "Of course. But know this, Elias, you would not be alone. My people may resist at first, but they will come to see the wisdom in our union. And I—" She hesitated, then added softly, "I trust you more than anyone I've ever known." As she retreated into the shadows of the cavern, Elias sank onto a nearby rock, his thoughts swirling like storm clouds. He replayed their conversations, their laughter, and even their arguments in his mind. Sci-Fi wasn't asking for blind devotion. She was offering partnership, a chance to stand beside her as equals. But could he reconcile his loyalty to humanity with the pull of something greater? Later that night, back at the makeshift camp near the crash site, Elias found himself staring up at the alien sky. Around him, the hum of activity from the crew faded into the background as he wrestled with doubt and fear. What kind of leader would he be if he chose personal fulfillment over responsibility? And yet, how could he walk away from the extraordinary connection he'd formed with Sci-Fi? Unbeknownst to him, whispers of discontent were already spreading among the crew. Some viewed the luminary queen with suspicion, while others saw opportunity, or danger, in her proposal. As tensions simmered, Elias realized that whatever choice he made, it wouldn't just affect him. It would ripple outward, shaping the fate of two species. And so, beneath the watchful eyes of twin moons, Elias prepared to face the most difficult decision of his life, one that would test not only his courage, but also his heart. Sci-Fi's proposal hung heavy in the air, but Elias knew better than to take it lightly. The luminary queen had explained that tradition demanded any suitor prove their worth through trials. Tests designed not just to challenge physical strength, but intellect and empathy as well. Though daunting, Elias accepted without hesitation. If this was the path to earning Sci-Fi's trust, and perhaps securing peace between their species, he would face it head-on. The first trial began at dawn, deep within the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the crystalline cavern. Known as ***, the Abyssal Hunt ***. It required participants to navigate treacherous underground passages teeming with predatory creatures. Armed only with a plasma torch and his wits, Elias descended into the darkness. The air grew colder with each step, and the faint glow of bioluminescent fungi provided just enough light to see jagged walls dripping with moisture. Soon, he heard the scuttling of claws against stone. From the shadows emerged spider-like beasts with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp mandibles. Elias froze for a moment, then acted swiftly, using the plasma torch to create barriers of fire that forced the creatures back. But they were relentless, attacking in waves. Dodging and weaving, he climbed higher into the tunnels, finding narrow ledges where the predators couldn't follow. By the time he emerged hours later, exhausted and covered in soot, he realized the true test wasn't brute force. It was survival through strategy. The second trial awaited him above ground. The Mind Forge Puzzle ***. This ancient psychic labyrinth existed entirely within the mind, conjured by Sci-Fi's advisors to assess mental fortitude. As Elias stepped into the shimmering portal created by the luminary elders, reality dissolved around him. He found himself standing in a surreal landscape of shifting corridors, each turn revealing fragments of his memories, some joyful, others painful. Voices echoed in his ears, taunting him with doubts. "You're not strong enough," one whispered. "She deserves better," said another. Worst of all was the vision of his crew, accusing him of betrayal. For a moment, Elias faltered, overwhelmed by guilt and fear. But then he remembered Sci-Fi's words. "I trust you more than anyone I've ever known." Drawing on that belief, he focused on the task ahead, solving intricate puzzles embedded in the walls until the labyrinth finally unraveled, releasing him back into the real world. Though physically unharmed, Elias felt emotionally drained. Yet there was no time to rest. The final trial loomed ahead, called ***, the Trial of Sacrifice ***. It tested his ability to make difficult choices for the greater good. Presented with two scenarios projected directly into his mind, Elias had to decide quickly. In one, a fellow survivor from the ***EOS** lay injured in hostile territory, calling for help. In the other, a critical component needed to repair the ship sat abandoned nearby, guarded by scavenger drones. His heart screamed to save the stranded crewmate, but logic reminded him of the stakes. If the ***EOS** couldn't be repaired, everyone would perish. After agonizing seconds, Elias retrieved the component, knowing medical nanites could stabilize the injured person later. It was a bitter decision, but one rooted in responsibility. When the trials ended, Elias stood before Sci-Fi and her council, battered yet resolute. Their expressions ranged from admiration to skepticism, but none could deny his determination. Sci-Fi approached, placing a hand near his chest, not quite touching, but close enough to convey warmth and pride. "You have proven yourself courageous, wise, and selfless," she said softly. "Few would endure what you have done." As Elias caught his breath, he realized these trials weren't just about proving himself. They were about understanding what it meant to lead alongside someone like Sci-Fi. And though the journey ahead remained uncertain, he now carried a newfound sense of clarity. Whatever came next, he was ready. News of Elias's trial spread quickly among the surviving crew members, sparking heated debates around the campfires that lit up the crash site each night. To some, his decision to pursue a union with Sci-Fi was an act of betrayal, a reckless abandonment of humanity for personal gain. Others saw it as an opportunity, a chance to forge an alliance with a powerful alien species. But regardless of opinion, one thing was clear: tensions were rising. Commander Rhea Calder, Elias's second-in-command and closest confidant during the mission, confronted him directly. Her sharp features were etched with frustration as she cornered him near the half-repaired hull of the ***EOS**. "You can't seriously be considering this," she snapped, her voice low but intense. "We're stranded on this moon because of your choices, and now you want to leave us behind." For her. Elias straightened, meeting her gaze evenly. "It's not about leaving anyone behind," he replied firmly. "This is about building bridges, something bigger than just getting home." Rhea scoffed, crossing her arms. "Bigger? You think marrying an alien queen makes you some kind of savior? What happens when her people turn on us? Or worse, what happens when ours find out you've abandoned humanity for whatever this is?" Her words stung, not because they were entirely wrong, but because they echoed doubts Elias had wrestled with himself. He clenched his fists briefly before forcing himself to relax. "I'm not abandoning anyone," he said again, softer this time. "If anything, I'm trying to give us a future, a chance to coexist instead of fearing each other." But Rhea wasn't convinced. She stormed off, muttering under her breath about mutiny, leaving Elias standing alone in the shadow of the damaged ship. Word of her dissent spread like wildfire, dividing the crew into factions. Some rallied behind Elias, believing in the potential of peace with the Luminary, while others sided with Rhea, viewing the proposed union as a threat to their survival. Meanwhile, Sci-Fi faced similar resistance from her own council. The elders gathered in the crystalline cavern, their towering forms casting long shadows as they debated the implications of allowing a human into their royal lineage. "He is foreign, unpredictable," one elder argued, his voice resonating like thunder. "Our people will never accept him." "He has proven himself worthy," Sci-Fi countered, her tone unwavering despite the weight of their disapproval. "Through courage and sacrifice, he has earned my trust, and yours. This union could unite us, bringing strength where there is weakness." Another elder stepped forward, his glowing eyes narrowing. "And if he fails, if his presence fractures our society further, can you guarantee he won't betray us?" Sci-Fi hesitated, glancing toward the entrance of the cavern where Elias stood watching silently. She couldn't promise perfection, but she believed in him deeply. "No bond comes without risk," she admitted, "but neither does isolation. We cannot survive alone any longer." As both groups grappled with uncertainty, Elias found himself caught between two worlds. Late at night, he often wandered to the edge of the forest surrounding the sanctuary, staring up at the alien sky. The stars seemed colder somehow, distant reminders of everything he might lose. Yet, whenever doubt crept in, memories of Sci-Fi's quiet strength and unyielding faith pushed it back. One evening, as he sat beside a glowing crystal formation, Sci-Fi joined him. Without speaking, she placed a hand near his shoulder, radiating warmth. "You carry the weight of two peoples on your shoulders now," she said gently. "Do not let their fears crush you." Elias exhaled slowly, turning to look at her. "What if I'm not strong enough? What if I fail them, both of them?" Sci-Fi smiled faintly, her luminous eyes reflecting the light of twin moons. "Strength isn't measured by avoiding failure. It's measured by how we rise after falling. Together, we'll face whatever comes." For the first time in days, Elias felt a flicker of hope, but even as he prepared to embrace his new role, whispers of rebellion grew louder among the humans, and darker forces began stirring beyond the sanctuary's borders. Peace, it seemed, would come at a cost neither of them could yet imagine. Just as Elias began to reconcile the divided loyalties among his crew and Sci-Fi's council, a new threat emerged, one that threatened not only their fragile alliance, but the very survival of both species. It started with faint tremors beneath the crystalline cavern, subtle vibrations that grew stronger with each passing hour. At first, Elias dismissed them as natural phenomena, but Sci-Fi sensed something far more sinister. "It's them," she whispered one evening, her voice tight with dread. "The rebels." Elias frowned, recalling the stories she'd shared about rogue factions within her people, luminary who rejected harmony and sought dominance through conquest. "They're here. Now." Sci-Fi nodded gravely. "They've been watching us, waiting for an opportunity to strike." She hesitated, then added softly, "And your trials, they may have signaled weakness to them." Before Elias could respond, alarms blared across the sanctuary. Scavenger drones, similar to those that had attacked Sci-Fi weeks earlier, descended from the sky in swarms, accompanied by heavily armed rebel forces. Their leader, a towering figure clad in black armor etched with jagged runes, stepped forward, his glowing red eyes locking onto Sci-Fi. "Your reign ends today," he declared, his voice booming like thunder. "This human filth will not stand between us and our destiny." Chaos erupted instantly. The loyalist luminary rallied to defend their queen, unleashing psychic blasts and energy beams against the invaders. Meanwhile, the human survivors scrambled to arm themselves with whatever weapons they could salvage from the *EOS*. Caught in the crossfire, Elias realized this battle wasn't just about protecting Sci-Fi. It was about proving that unity between their species was possible. Taking command, Elias directed his crew to establish defensive positions around the sanctuary, while coordinating with Sci-Fi's forces. Using his knowledge of human tactics, he devised a plan to outmaneuver the rebels. "We need to disable their command center," he shouted over the din of combat. "If we cut off their leader, the rest will fall into disarray." With Sci-Fi fighting alongside him, Elias led a daring assault on the enemy stronghold, a fortified ridge overlooking the battlefield. Dodging plasma fire and leaping over fallen debris, he reached the control hub just as the rebel leader lunged at him with a crackling energy blade. The two clashed fiercely, trading blows until Elias managed to disarm his opponent with a well-timed kick. Seizing the moment, he activated the self-destruct sequence on the command console, causing explosions to ripple through the ridge and cripple the rebel forces. As the dust settled, the remaining rebels fled into the wilderness, leaving behind a battered but victorious alliance. Exhausted and bleeding from multiple wounds, Elias turned to find Sci-Fi standing nearby, her luminous form dimmed but resolute. "You saved us," she said simply, her voice filled with awe and gratitude. Elias shook his head, leaning against a shattered crystal for support. "We saved each other." The victory came at a cost. Several loyalists had fallen, and the sanctuary bore scars of destruction, but it also marked a turning point. Witnessing Elias's bravery firsthand, even Commander Rhea Calder begrudgingly acknowledged his leadership. Among the humans and luminary alike, there was newfound respect for what they could achieve together. Under the light of twin moons, Elias stood beside Sci-Fi, gazing out at the wreckage. Though peace remained fragile, hope burned brighter than ever. Together, they vowed to rebuild not just their worlds, but the shattered trust between them. And in that moment, Elias knew he had made the right choice. The aftermath of the battle left the sanctuary scared but alive with renewed determination. The alliance between humans and luminary, forged in the fires of conflict, began to take shape as both species worked side by side to rebuild what had been destroyed. For Elias, the days that followed were a whirlwind of activity, repairing damaged structures, strategizing future defenses, and addressing the concerns of two very different groups now bound together by shared struggle. Sci-Fi stood at his side throughout it all, her presence a constant reminder of why he had chosen this path. Together, they addressed the combined assembly of humans and loyalist luminary, standing before a gathering that buzzed with tension yet held glimmers of hope. As Elias stepped forward to speak, the weight of leadership settled heavily on his shoulders, but so did the knowledge that he wasn't alone. "We've faced impossible odds," he began, his voice steady despite the fatigue etched into his features. "We fought not just for survival, but for something greater, a chance to stand together instead of apart. Today, we have proven that unity is possible, even between those who seem worlds apart." His words resonated deeply, earning nods from some crew members who had once doubted him. Even Commander Rhea Calder crossed her arms tightly, but said nothing, her expression softening slightly as she listened. Elias continued, explaining their plans for coexistence, shared resources, mutual protection, and an exchange of knowledge that could benefit both species. By the time he finished, a tentative sense of optimism filled the air. When Sci-Fi spoke next, her telepathic voice echoed gently in everyone's minds. "Elias has shown us courage, wisdom, and selflessness. He has earned my trust, and yours. Together, we will build a future where neither of our peoples must face the stars alone." As the assembly dispersed, whispers of approval spread among the humans and luminary alike. Though skepticism lingered, especially among the more stubborn members of each group, there was no denying the bond that had formed through sacrifice and cooperation. That evening, under the glow of twin moons, Elias and Sci-Fi formally announced their union, a historic moment symbolized by the intertwining of human and luminary symbols carved into a towering crystal monument. For Elias, leaving behind the Eos and his old life was bittersweet. The ship departed the moon shortly after, carrying most of the surviving crew back toward Earth. Some chose to stay, inspired by the vision of peace Elias and Silray represented. Among them was Lieutenant Mara Solis, who volunteered to serve as humanity's ambassador to the luminary. Her decision marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where bridges replaced barriers. As the years passed, Elias embraced his role as consort, learning the intricacies of luminary governance while helping introduce human innovations to their society. Together, he and Silray traveled across the galaxy, fostering alliances and spreading their message of unity. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, rooted not just in love, but in a shared commitment to creating a better future. One night, as they stood atop a glowing mountain overlooking the rebuilt sanctuary, Silray turned to Elias with a smile. "Do you ever wonder if this is what destiny feels like?" she asked softly. Elias chuckled, gazing up at the stars. "Maybe. Or maybe we're just making it up as we go." His tone turned serious as he added, "But whatever happens, I know we're doing something right." Under the light of 1,000 stars, the alien queen and her human consorts stepped forward into a future neither could have imagined alone, a testament to the enduring power of compassion, courage, and love across the cosmos. And though challenges lay ahead, they faced them hand in hand, ready to write the next chapter in their extraordinary story.